No, well, look, I mean, I can't get in over the top of you, Danny, because there's just so much history about the royal family. I've been there for hundreds of years to go yet. But anyway, I want to tell you about all 10 royal visits to Ipswich, and it did all start back in 1868.
Right.
The very first one. Everyone remembers William and Kate back in 2014, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. They came to Amberley as part of their tour of Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Prince William had been here 3 years earlier, of course, in 2011, when he visited West Morton Anglican College in Caravan in Ipswich following the 11 flood.
Right.
In 1992, Catherine, the Duchess of...
Hold on, your phone is playing up again. The tower's in front of you.
No, I'm not. Yeah, the phone's not playing up, Danny.
That's
it's not
perfect.
playing at your end.
That is perfect. All right, say that again. Go.
In 1992, Catherine, the Duchess of Kent, she visited Ipswich. Now, her husband, the Duke of Kent, is the first cousin of the Queen. Now, Catherine was here after the storms and floods that year in 1992. But 30 years earlier, in 1962, Princess Alice visited Ipswich. Now, she was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria and was out here to see her daughter, who was married to the Queensland Governor. 1958 was another big year because that's when the Queen Mother came here to Ipswich.
Right.
She met thousands of people over Queen's Park. She'd in fact been to Ipswich before, or 30 years earlier, with her husband.
Wow.
Now, at the end of the Second World War in 1945, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester visited. He was the third son of King George V. His two older brothers, Edward and Bertie, both had a go at King, but, he missed out.
Right.
Although he was Australia's Governor-General for a while. Now, the Duke of Gloucester, he'd also come here to Ipswich in 1934 when he went to Queen's Park and the Ipswich General Hospital, where he laid the foundation stone of the Children's Sunshine Ward.
Wow.
And going back further, in 1927, the then Duke and Duchess of York visited. They later became King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the parents of the current Queen. Now, Danny, last year was the centenary of the visit to Ipswich in 1920 of the then Prince of Wales, who was later King Edward VIII. Oh. He was here to thank Australians for, the part they played in the First World War, and he went from Ipswich Station up to Queen's Park and met loads of returned soldiers there.
Wow. Now,
this was the first royal visit to Ipswich for over 50 years. The previous one had, in fact, been the very first royal visit to Ipswich in 1868. Now, the visitor then was Prince Alfred, who was the second son of Queen Victoria. His visit to Australia was particularly notable for the assassination attempt made by a mad Irishman in Sydney. But before that, the Prince had come to Ipswich, not once, but twice. Now, back then, in Ipswich, more horses were owned here than any other town in Queensland. And so the call was put out for people to go out on horseback along the road to receive the royal visitor and form as escort into town. Now, the invitation was freely responded to, Danny, and hundreds of horsemen cantered up Brisbane Road and assembled at Bouval. Now, but the Prince was a long time coming, and the riders became a wee bit impatient, so many of them rode out to get a first look. Amid the excitement, they rode first at a walk, then trotted, then cantered until the mob was at a full gallop. Wow. When the royal carriage appeared, driven by the Prince himself, it all descended into pandemonium. Very few of the riders fell into rank beyond the carriage like this face, but the majority, hundreds of them, broke into a totally disorderly chase. It was like a pack of wolves. It was reported the affair was altogether indecorous in the extreme. Now, Danny, the Prince's second visit to Ipswich was just 2 days later when he returned from Toowoomba and John Darien. Right. But nothing before or since, to this day, has ever topped the pandemonium of those hundreds of Ipswich horsemen chasing the Prince along Brisbane Road in 1868.
What a great
So the history just goes on and on.
You are unbelievable. Where do you find this stuff?
Mate, if you're interested in history and Ipswich, you just keep reading because there's so much stories around here. There's so much.
Historyouthere.com. Now tell us, how are you going with that bloke getting his name on the scroll of the Anzac Roll of Honour?
Yes, I was just dropped the message to the Australian War Memorial yesterday, in fact, and they're hoping to get news back really soon. So I think their council meeting is just the next couple of days, early next week.
Well, that's good because Anzac Day, we need to get that in the mainstream media, let them know all about it.
Exactly right.
History Out There. Harold Peacock, he's on every week about this time. Really great stories. Great having you on the program, Harold.
Thanks, Danny. Historyouthere.com. We'll see you there.
8:18 on West Bremer Radio.